Lewis Hamilton is searching for every possible angle to send information back to Mercedes in order to better their prospects, including looking at the backmarking AlphaTauri's flaw to see if anything was helpful for his team moving ahead. And to better their chances next year, Hamilton can even be seen on the grid taking pictures of rival cars from time to time. So, is this their secret strategy to return to the top next year? Stick around to find out how simple pictures on the grid can influence Mercedes' chances of winning next year. The 7-time world champion has said he takes snapshots of every car to send back to his team in the hopes of discovering anything that can be utilized to improve, with a second straight winless season poised to end if he does not climb the top step in Abu Dhabi on Sunday. Hamilton says he's fully involved with Mercedes crew back at their Brackley headquarters, pushing for whatever additional time they can find, and that he's keeping his fingers crossed that this winter will be good to the team. He even goes as far as checking in on multiple departments during his days off. But why is Lewis Hamilton taking these snapshots of each car, including the AlphaTauri's flaw? Well, first off, it's making Hamilton look a bit like Adrian Newey, Red Bull's design genius, who is well known for never being too far away from his renowned notepad on the grid as he glances at every other car when he has the chance. Inspector Seb was Sebastian Vettel's adoring nickname when he took a look at his competitor's gear, and it appears Hamilton is doing the same as he attempts to help propel Mercedes' return to the top of the Formula One field. And this is done to provide all the departments within Mercedes with as much information as possible to create a better car for next year. So even though this is the longest winless streak in the Mercedes driver's illustrious career, his will to return to victory lane is unwavering, even if the Silver Arrows started the season on the back foot once again. "I don't know," Hamilton responded when asked if his podiums and pole position in 2023 are a sign of improvement compared to last season. "I mean, last year we had a race win in Brazil, but it doesn't really mean it's necessarily getting better. We still started the season a second and a half down in Bahrain. You know, it's nice definitely to be progressing, and we have seen progress with this car, so fingers crossed for winter. But I'll be staying. I'm in touch with the head of Aero, and I'm just like checking up on him every week, like, how are we doing and what have you tried? Where's the progress? Have you tried this?" I take snapshots of every car I saw underneath the AlphaTauri the other day, and I went back and was like, hey, they've got these things on their floor. You know, you're just trying to find everything that you can pass on, but they know most of the stuff anyway. Hamilton entered the Las Vegas Grand Prix weekend with a mathematical chance of passing Sergio Perez for second place in the drivers' standings, but as someone with 7 P1 finishes in the championship, he stated it wasn't important to him. However, with Mercedes currently embroiled in a close race with Ferrari coming into Abu Dhabi, with only 4 points separating them heading into the season finale, he is hoping to clinch the best constructors finish possible this season to boost team morale. "It doesn't really make any difference to me," he said with a laugh when asked if achieving second in the Drivers' Championship remained a goal. "I'm sitting at Christmas and I'll be like, oh, I came third instead of second, or second instead of third. The one that I might be proud of is getting second for the team, just knowing how hard everyone's worked back at the factory. It's been a tough 2 years for everybody, but the fact that we are fighting for second in the championship is pretty amazing to recover in that way. Even though second might seem a good result for this year, they'll surely be hoping for more next year. And that is exactly why Hamilton is sending those snapshots and more involved than ever in the whole car design process. And that's also why Lewis Hamilton is on a group teams chat with different departments at Mercedes and has said that he will always be checking in to see how the car is doing. As Mercedes is now hard at work developing its 2024 car, and this time Lewis Hamilton says he is heavily involved in the process. "We have had so much work that we've done through the year already," he remarked. "I am on a group teams chat basically with different departments, and I will always be checking in. But, of course, I am going to unplug. I have to leave the guys to do what they do best. But I'm always going to be like, hey, I wonder how it's going." But you've just got to give them time. It takes time to develop. It's small steps each week. And then, on top of that, I've got to get my head in the right place. I've got to get fit, prepare for the next season, and spend some time with my family. It's been a killer season. Lewis adds that the squad still has a lot of work to do if they want to fight at the front of the pack. The W14 is still not a championship-winning car, and I don't even think it's probably a race-winning car still. That's what we're going to have to work on for next year. But either way, we're going to be fighting to try and stay ahead of the Ferrari, and the fact that we are competing for second in the Constructors' title is amazing given from where we started. So I'm really hopeful we can maintain that position," Hamilton concluded. But it isn't always smooth sailing within the team and the chats, as Hamilton has revealed that he does argue with one particular individual within the team. Hamilton claimed that he argues a lot with Mercedes trackside engineering director Andrew Chauvelin, but never with his race engineer Peter Bonington, better known as Bono. Lewis Hamilton discussed intra-team tensions with specific members of the Mercedes squad in a recent interview. Surprisingly, Lewis stated that he argues a lot with Mercedes trackside engineering director Andrew Chauvelin. "One of my engineers, Chauvelin, will say, 'You're not always right. You've just got to accept that you're not always right,'" the Briton said. "And that's one of the things that I struggle with. I argue and argue and argue, but then I'll say, 'Yep, okay, you were right.' That's Chauv. We've known each other for 11 years. We've had an amazing relationship, but we argue a lot. Me and him are the only ones that argue here." However, Lewis also claimed that he never fights with his longtime racing engineer and voice in his ear, Peter Bonington. Bono, the man behind the expression, "It's hammer time, Lewis." "I don't argue with Bono. We have just a mega relationship, and it's not that he agrees with everything that I do, but we just have a great rapport. Me and Chauv, it's still a great, fantastic relationship, but I'm always challenging him like, 'Yeah, but Chauv, what about this? What about that? Are you sure?' And then he comes back and I'm like, 'I'm sure you're wrong.'" Finally, Lewis claims he misses Chauvelin's impact when he is not there at a race. "So he took off a race. I think he was at home for the last race. And I was like, 'Where's Chauv? I don't have anyone to argue with,'" Hamilton concluded. And as we're entering the last race of the season, many fans have been left wondering, why hasn't Hamilton won this or last season? Is it just the car, or is there more to it? Hamilton's last Grand Prix victory occurred at the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. However, he did break his pole drought from that event earlier this season by earning first on the grid in Hungary by 0.003s from Max Verstappen. Hamilton has had a strong Friday at times this season before failing to maintain that momentum into qualifying, leaving him out of position on the grid, with a decent Friday in Las Vegas resulting to a P11 start for the race. After years of dominance at the front of the race, 1997 champion Jacques Villeneuve feels Hamilton is just not accustomed to having to find the fractions of a second he now has to find now that Mercedes is in the midfield for the first time in years. "It is a very peaky car with a very small window of operation, and it is pretty hard to set up," Villeneuve said of Mercedes W14. "George Russell seems to be better at that than Lewis, who spent so many years with an easy car to drive. He had more horsepower than the rest of the grid, and even if they didn't have the right setup or right strategy, they'd still win. When you have to go back to find that last tenth, you're not used to it anymore, and you need to get the ball rolling." What are your thoughts in the intra-team battle between Lewis and George? Do you think they're even, or is there a clear winner within the team? Leave a comment down below. For now, Hamilton, Russell, and the rest of Mercedes will focus on the season finale at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where P2 in the Constructors' Championship will be decided between them and Ferrari. And with only 4 points between them, it could be an interesting race this weekend. What are your predictions for upcoming weekend? Do Mercedes have enough pace to close out the season in P2? Or will Ferrari be able to outscore them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.